you.
Put your weapons down.
The story kicks off in an astronomy class. The teacher is excited, talking about an upcoming meteor shower, explaining what the students will soon see with their own eyes. But honestly, the kids couldn't care less. They're all wrapped up in their own lives. Julia is busy chatting with her best friend, Susan, about her new boyfriend, Artem, when suddenly another student interrupts. He asks a serious question. Could today's meteor shower be dangerous for people on Earth? The teacher pauses for a moment, then reassures them. There's nothing to worry about. They're tiny fragments. They'll burn up before they reach the ground. Sounds safe enough, right? After school, Artem shows up to pick Julia up. And just like that, she leaves Susan behind. Later that evening, at home, Julia runs into her father, Colonel Valentine. And yeah, things get tense. They argue. Julia wants to go out and watch the meteor shower with her friends. But her father shuts it down immediately. He thinks it'll be too crowded, too risky. A stampede could happen. I don't go to places like that, he insists. So when Julia tells Artem about this, he just smiles and says, "No problem. I'll sneak you out." Meanwhile, something strange is happening in the sky. A mysterious spacecraft enters Earth's atmosphere, hidden among the meteorites. The Russian military detects it instantly. They suspect a UFO. NATO isn't sure what it is, but they don't take chances. They send fighter jets to intercept and shoot it down. At the same time, people in the city start gathering outside to watch the meteor shower. Julia and Artem are there too. Then, suddenly, a car comes speeding straight toward the crowd, almost hitting people. Artem loses it. He smashes the car's side window, and chaos breaks out. A fight starts right there in the street. But before things get worse, Artem's friends show up. Seeing a whole group of guys, the car owner backs off and drives away. Tension barely avoided. After that, Susan invites Julia and Artem up to her rooftop. From there, they have a perfect view of the meteor shower. But honestly, they're so lost in each other, they don't even notice what's happening around them. Susan notices this and quietly gives them space. She hands over the keys and leaves them alone. Now it's just the two of them, wrapped up in each other's arms, completely unaware of what's about to happen. Julia doesn't even think about the fact that Susan is alone on the rooftop. And then, everything changes. Fighter jets suddenly roar across the sky. Missiles strike the unknown spacecraft, and it comes crashing down, right onto the building where they are. Boom. The explosion is massive. Buildings collapse. A highway is destroyed. Even a stadium is wiped out. In the middle of all this chaos, Julia and Artem find themselves hanging on the edge of a massive drop, clinging to broken pieces of a bed. One wrong move, and it's over. But somehow, Artem manages to pull Julia to safety and get her out of the half-destroyed building. After the disaster, the entire area is sealed off by the military and police. Colonel Valentine, along with government officials like Representative Mill, decides to make contact with the aliens to understand why they're here. Then, from the wreckage, a tall, robotic-looking alien emerges. Mill tries to welcome it to Earth, but he's so overwhelmed, so nervous. He suddenly collapses from a heart attack. Later, Colonel Valentine addresses Parliament. He explains what the aliens communicated. They made it clear. No one should approach their ship while they repair it. Once they're done, they'll leave Earth. They never intended to attack. The crash, the destruction, it all happened because humans fired on them first. So Valentine makes a bold suggestion. Given the situation, they should let the aliens go without starting a war. Meanwhile, Julia wakes up in a hospital room. She turns on the TV and sees the news. The spacecraft crash has devastated the entire city. Then her eyes fall on something. A package. Inside it, Susan's headphones. And written on it, the date of her death. Julia is shattered, completely broken. Filled with grief and rage, she finds Artem, and the two of them sneak out of the hospital together. Not long after, Colonel Valentine arrives in a military vehicle. He doesn't exactly like Artem, but still, he thanks him because he saved Julia's life. On the way home, Julia asks her father, "What happens now?" Valentine tells her the city is under curfew. Students must go straight home after school. No exceptions. But that's not all. He's too busy with work to look after her. So he calls Julia's grandmother to stay with her. Julia is not happy about that. Life in the city changes completely. Students are now transported to school in military vehicles. At school, a memorial is held for Susan, and it only makes Julia's pain worse. Her grief slowly turns into hatred toward the aliens. Later in class, the teacher tries to calm the students. He tells them not to see the aliens as enemies. He says, even after such a massive tragedy, this could be a chance for humanity, a chance to understand alien life, to uncover the mysteries of space. But Julia, she doesn't hear any of that. All she feels is anger. To her, the aliens are the enemy. They need to leave. Immediately. That same day, Julia goes home and secretly takes a pistol from her father's safe. Then, an hour before curfew, she heads to Artem's garage. His friends are already there, and every single one of them is filled with anger toward the aliens. They're furious. They're just roaming our planet without permission. That's the mindset. And right then, Julia steps forward. She says talking won't fix anything. And suddenly, she pulls out a pistol. Yeah, she actually stole it. Everyone goes quiet. The plan? Reach the crash site through an abandoned building, using a secret passage that leads straight to the spacecraft. Artem looks at her seriously. He warns her, this is dangerous. Then he makes her wait in the vehicle while the others go inside. Inside the ruined store, the boys find something strange. A golden device lying on the floor. They assume it fell during the crash. But Julia, she ignores Artem's warning completely and heads straight to Susan's apartment. Inside, she sees a photo of them together. Then she plays Susan's last voicemail. And just like that, the tears start falling. But then, she's not alone. An alien suddenly appears in front of her. Julia freezes, terrified. Without thinking, she fires. One shot. Then she tries to back away, but loses her balance. She's about to fall. And then, the alien grabs her hand, just in time. He saves her. For a brief moment, she sees his face, and it looks a human. Right then, Artem and his friends rush in after hearing her scream. They don't hesitate. They attack the alien. The force knocks it off balance, and it crashes down. Its exoskeleton detaches. The group stares in shock. Inside the suit, there's no solid body, just an empty shell filled with red liquid. They decide to take it, study it later in the garage. Meanwhile, among the rubble, Julia notices something else. A wounded alien. And strangely, he looks just like a normal boy. But she says nothing, keeps it to herself, and leaves with the others. That night, Julia can't sleep. Her mind keeps replaying everything. The aliens, the crash, Susan. The next morning, she steals her father's car and goes back to the restricted zone. The wounded alien is still there, barely alive, unconscious. Without hesitation, Julia rescues him. She gets him out of the building. Later at school, she asks a classmate nicknamed Google for help. At first, he refuses. But when he sees the alien's body in the truck, he's stunned and honestly a little excited. He explains something important. The alien's body is very similar to a human's, but that red liquid, it's essential. Without it, the alien won't survive. So Julia makes a bold move. Using her father's name, she gets access to a hospital, sneaks the alien inside, into an operating room. With Google's help, she performs a transfusion. Her blood into the alien. It's risky. But then, after a while, the alien wakes up, alive, and in return, he gives Julia a strange bracelet. Later, they take him back to the garage and tie him up. Julia heads home to clean up. But while she's in the shower, something weird happens. The bracelet moves on its own, switches from one hand to the other, and then she realizes it lets her control water. Meanwhile, the military recovers that golden alien device. and takes it to a lab. During a presentation to Parliament, a scientist reveals something shocking. The alien ship is pulling water from the entire city, all of it, and that water, it's necessary to repair the spacecraft. Because of this, the government decides to cooperate. They start reducing the city's water usage. Colonel Valentine suggests something logical. Return the device to the aliens. But his advice? Ignored. Instead, they want to study it further. Learn more. The next day, Google sends Julia a message, excited. He tells her the alien is awake. So Julia goes back, gun in hand. She demands answers. The alien responds. In Russian, he introduces himself as Hein. He explains. He needs his device back. It's called the shill. Without it, he can't return to his ship called Soul. But Julia, she's still filled with anger. Still hates them. Her tone is cold. Hein stays calm. I understand how you feel, he says. Julia gets irritated. She tells him to wear her father's old clothes and get out of there quickly. He agrees, without arguing. But once outside, everything is unfamiliar. Earth, its rules, its people. He doesn't understand any of it. His strange behavior catches attention. Patrol officers stop him. They assume he's a drug addict and take him to the police station. Meanwhile, back at the garage, Artem and his friends are trying to break the alien exoskeleton. But nothing works. The armor is too strong. Then they try something else. They wipe it with a damp cloth and notice something crazy. The marks on it disappear instantly, like it's healing. Curious, a guy named Eugene puts his hand inside the suit, and suddenly, he feels it. The suit copying his movements, mimicking him. Then, out of nowhere, the suit starts wrapping around his hand. Eugene panics. His friends rush in, pull him out with difficulty. But in the chaos, his hands get cut. Shaken, Eugene says something unexpected. I don't want to fight them. If they wanted, they could destroy us. Russ immediately snaps. Coward, get out. Eugene fires back. Yeah, go ahead and fight them. They'll kill you first. Tension rises. And right then, Artem makes a decision. Artem makes up his mind. He's done messing around. He decides to get rid of the dangerous suit and go meet Colonel Valentine to tell him everything. So he and his friends head out. On the way, they pass through an area where people have been waiting for water for hours. Tension is already high. And then, an angry man suddenly attacks a police officer. The situation spirals instantly. The officer doesn't see who threw the first hit, but he assumes it was Russ because of how he's dressed. Now everything turns chaotic. Artem and his group try to defend their friend, but the police start attacking them too. Seeing things getting out of control, Artem quickly pulls everyone back into the car. Let's get out of here. All around them, people are furious. They're shouting at the police. You're giving water to the aliens, not to us. Artem tries to calm things down. He tells the crowd, attacking the police isn't right. He even moves forward, trying to help the injured officer. But in the chaos, other officers misunderstand his actions. They think he's a threat. And suddenly, they beat him with batons, drag him away, and throw him into a prisoner van. Moments later, Colonel Valentine arrives. He asks Artem what he wanted to show him. At that exact moment, Artem looks toward the injured officer, hoping he'll speak up, tell the truth. But the officer stays silent, too afraid to say anything. That's it. Artem is disgusted, completely fed up with the system. He changes his decision on the spot. He says nothing about the exoskeleton and lets himself get arrested. Meanwhile, Hein is at the police station. They try to take his fingerprints, but it doesn't work. Then he sees something on TV. His device, the shill, is now in the hands of the Ministry of Defense. Time is running out. Back to Julia. She finally calms down and decides to help Hein. When she learns he's in police custody, she uses her father's authority to get him released. She meets him outside. At the same time, she runs into Artem. She tells him she'll talk to her father, get him out soon. But Artem snaps. I want nothing to do with your father. He's angry. The whole system is corrupt. There's nothing left to say. After that, Hein explains everything to Julia. The device is essential. It's basically the key to his ship. Without it, he can't travel, can't leave, can't survive. So Julia makes a decision. She's going to help him get it back, so he can leave Earth. Fast. They head straight to the Ministry of Defense. But the guards stop them at the entrance. No entry. No explanation. Julia thinks fast, and then she lies. She tells Hein loud enough for others to hear that she's pregnant. The reaction? Instant. They're allowed inside. When Colonel Valentine hears this, he's shocked, furious. I'll have this man locked away forever. Julia quickly hugs him, pretending to calm him down. But in reality, she steals his security pass. Clean, silent, perfect. Valentine, still furious, throws Hein out of his office. As they leave, Julia secretly slips the pass to him. Later, she admits the truth to her father. The guards wouldn't let me in, so I lied. Then she looks at him and says something that hits hard. Do I have to get pregnant just to talk to you? That lands. Because the truth is, Valentine has been so consumed by work, he barely has time for her. Julia still carries pain, resentment, because when her mother was dying, Valentine sent her away to a camp. He thought he was protecting her from the pain, but instead, she never got to say goodbye. Back to Hein, wearing protective gear. He sneaks into the lab using the stolen pass. Inside, he finds the device. The moment he touches it, a glowing object emerges. He quietly takes it, but the staff notices. Panic spreads. Alarms start blaring. Security rushes in. And just like that, Julia and Hein are thrown out of the ministry. Meanwhile, Artem is released from custody. But now, he's changed. He tells his friends, they're going to fight the aliens. No more holding back. Back at the garage, they prepare. They reinforce the car with iron grills on the windshield, make petrol bombs, load bats into the trunk. This isn't a plan anymore. It's a war. Artem calls Julia. He apologizes for earlier and asks her to come to the garage. But Julia refuses. I don't want this anymore. She's done with violence. Instead, she tells Hein to reach his ship before curfew, quietly, without being seen. But getting there won't be easy. So she suggests something simple first. Let's go home, have dinner before dark. Back at the house, Hein meets Julia's old dog, Charlie, a blind dog. The moment Hein touches him, he freezes. He can feel it. The dog's pain. It shocks him. Julia gently explains. She could never leave Charlie behind. Her mother gave him to her. He's family. Right then, Julia's grandmother walks into the room, and Julia steps out for a moment, leaving Hein alone inside. Julia steps out for a moment to explain everything to her grandmother. But when she comes back, she freezes. Charlie, the blind dog, can see. He's looking around, reacting to everything. Julia is stunned. Then Hein shows her the device, the shill. He explains. It's incredibly powerful. It's the source of life itself. And because he's been connected to it for so long, he's become immortal. Julia listens, still trying to process it all. Later, she makes him pancakes. And slowly, something begins to change between them. A connection. Meanwhile, on the news, footage appears. Hein, caught on a Ministry of Defense camera. Colonel Valentine sees it and immediately rushes home. But Julia and Hein, they're already gone. At the same time, Artem is building something dangerous. A movement. He starts uploading propaganda videos online, turning people against the aliens, fueling the anger. Back to Julia. She finds something in her bag. Susan's last gift. Concert tickets for her favorite artist. 2 tickets. And just like that, she decides she'll take Hein with her. They can hide in the crowd, wait out the curfew. At the concert, something unbelievable happens. Hein touches Julia, and suddenly, she's not there anymore. Her mind is transported to his home planet. It's beautiful, clean, peaceful. He tells her, our world is like yours, but without pollution. The people there, just like humans. But they never destroyed their planet, chasing reckless progress. Then Hein explains the truth. He never came to attack Earth. He came out of curiosity, maybe even love. But the moment the military found his ship, they attacked. Still, he gives her a warning. If anyone tries to force their way onto his ship, its defense system will activate. And it won't hold back. Back at the concert, Eugene spots Julia with Hein. He immediately calls Artem. Right then, the performer on stage announces, curfew has begun. Everyone must leave. Julia takes Hein to a quiet, hidden spot. It's time to say goodbye. But emotions take over, and they kiss. Right then, Artem calls. Julia answers and ends things with him. It's over. But suddenly, Artem shows up with his friends. No warning. They attack Hein immediately. Punches, kicks. But Hein doesn't fight back. He just takes it. Because he doesn't believe in violence. Julia screams, tries to stop them. She tells them the truth. He just wants to go home. You're wrong about them. They're more advanced than us, but not our enemies. But Artem, He's too far gone. His eyes burn with rage. And then he slaps Julia. Hard. That's it. Something inside Hein breaks. He snaps. All his principles gone. He fights back. And one by one, he takes them all down. Every single one. Then Eugene grabs a gun from Julia's bag. He points it at Hein. Julia jumps in, trying to protect him. A shot goes off, and it hits Russ. Everyone rushes to him, but it's too late. He's gone. Julia begs Hein, save him, but Hein shakes his head. If he were injured, I could help. But death, I can't reverse it. Then military vehicles arrive. Artem and his group scatter. Julia and Hein try to run, but they're caught, arrested. Meanwhile, Artem makes a move. He calls his contact and spreads a lie. An alien killed a human. The rumor spreads like wildfire, and the already angry crowd explodes. Hundreds gather. Artem steps in front of them, furious, grieving, and he turns that grief into rage. The police are protecting aliens. We fight back. We take our country back. And just like that, the crowd arms itself. This is no longer fear. This is war. Artem returns to the garage and puts on the exoskeleton. Now he's ready. Meanwhile, Julia and Hein are being held at a military checkpoint. Colonel Valentine arrives. Julia pleads with him. If they reach the ship, it will self-destruct. The whole city will be destroyed, but it's already happening. The mob breaks through security and reaches the restricted zone. From the alien ship, robots emerge. They're there to protect their technology. The humans attack anyway. The robots try to minimize harm, but chaos spreads. The military joins in, trying to contain the situation. Valentine listens to Julia. He finally understands. I want to help you, he admits. But he's afraid to. Afraid of losing her. So Julia makes a desperate move. She grabs a gun and forces her father to give her the keys to an armored vehicle. No turning back now. Julia and Hein drive straight toward the ship. But on the way, Artem attacks them. Full force. Their vehicle flips over. A brutal fight begins. Hein versus Artem. Artem is stronger now with the exoskeleton. He's winning. He's about to finish Hein, when suddenly, Julia slams into him with the vehicle. Artem goes down. The military prepares to fire. But Colonel Valentine raises his hand. Stand down. No more violence. In that moment, Julia and Hein hold each other. Relieved. Alive. And Julia finally says it. She loves him. But then, out of nowhere, Artem emerges again, enraged. He fires. Straight at Julia. And in that split second, Hein jumps in front of her. The colonel rushes forward. Gun raised, and shots are fired. Silence. Valentine's worst fear becomes real. Julia collapses. Lifeless. He stands there, frozen, broken. Then, the alien robots move in. They take Julia and Hein into the ship. Inside, they place them in regeneration capsules. Moments later, the ship's AI speaks to Valentine. Your daughter will survive. There's hope. Then the truth is revealed. Hein loved Julia so deeply. He gave his life energy to save hers. His mission to Earth? It was secret. Earth's environment is beautiful, but its people, too angry, too hostile. That's why other civilizations avoid contact. But now, because of Julia and Hein's sacrifice, the AI has changed. It has learned. It will send this information back to its planet. Inside the ship, Julia wakes up, tears in her eyes. She looks over and sees Hein, still, unmoving. The shield is returned to its place. The ship begins restoring itself. And then, Hein's regeneration capsule activates. There's a chance. He might survive. And just like that, the story comes to an end, leaving one powerful question behind. Maybe, just maybe, an alien from another world showed more humanity than we ever did. If you enjoyed this story, don't forget to like and subscribe.